Why your coach doesn't always know best. Welcome back to Streetball Strategies.
Really, I just might spaz out in this place. Got that war paint on my face. Just been running around in this race. Feels like I've been running in place. Now I got hella bling, got hella rings. I'm ready now, sitting every team. Y'all slept on me, that's hella dreams. Don't take time, take everything.
I recently found a YouTube channel that's very similar to this channel in that it's all about the kind of mental and psychological approach to playing basketball. That channel's called A Deep Game, and the difference between that channel and mine is that that channel's been around for years, it's very successful, the content on it is really great, it's really amazing. You guys should go check it out. That guy has a lot of experience. He seems to be mostly an organized basketball player, meaning he's played high school, college, maybe some pro. He does have videos about him playing out at the park somewhat, but for the most part he seems to be an organized indoor basketball player. Whereas I'm strictly a playground basketball player. And he's a very chill guy, a very zen guy, whereas me, I'm not so chill. But you guys should go check out his channel. There's great content on that page. And one of the videos he has on that page is about how to deal with difficult coaches. Coaches who seem to be more difficult and harsh and hard on you than you would perceive that they should be. And his general consensus on how to handle that is to be sympathetic to those coaches, to show them empathy, to understand that they're under a lot of stress and pressure and expectations and that they're only human just like you are. And so you should give them the benefit of the doubt. While I understand what he's saying, and I really do hope that having that strategy of being sympathetic works for players, in my experience, just because an adult is older and has more responsibility and pays all the bills and has all the authority, that doesn't mean necessarily that all adults are smart and intelligent and rational and reasonable and have their life together. Yes, there are some general population adults who do have their life together, who are smart, who are rational, who are reasonable, and who do care about having their life together, and that really does matter to them. But in my experience, the majority of people, the majority of adults, the majority of teachers and coaches and bosses are decent at best most of the time. And so I didn't want to be coached by one of those majority people as a kid, because I realized that I wasn't going to be playing any kind of high-level basketball. I wasn't going to go to college or the pros, and I always knew that I was always going to end up out here at the park. So if I became a good basketball player, I wanted it to be because I taught me. I wanted to be the one responsible for my success on the basketball court, were I to have any out here at the park. I didn't want to put my game, my playground playing basketball career, in the hands of one of those majority adult authority figures. So when talking about why your coach doesn't always know best, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about coaches who fall into that majority of grown adult authority figures who just aren't as good at having their life together as you would expect them to have. They're less rational, more irrational than you would expect your coach, your leader, to be. But let's first keep in mind that I am a huge fan of internalizing. So when it comes to blame, when something goes wrong, when mistakes are made, I'm a fan of internalizing that by saying, even if it's not really my fault, even if it's only maybe partially my fault, you know what? It's on me. That's my mistake. I made that mistake. It's my fault. I can do better. I will do better. That mistake won't happen again. I'm a big fan of doing that, as opposed to externalizing, which is, it's your fault. Whatever mistake was made, it's not my fault. It's your fault. It's his fault. I didn't do anything wrong. That's externalizing. I do not endorse that whatsoever at all. And that includes blaming your coach. This is where you, as a person and a player, have to be one of those minority people. You have to be smart. You have to be rational and reasonable. You have to really analyze whether or not your coach is justifiably being hard on you. Are you making mistakes that justify the way your coach is treating you. If your coach is justified for treating you that way, then that's on you to improve. But if you have been intelligent and rational and reasonable and analyzed the situation and come away with the conclusion that no, your coach is being irrational. It's your coach's problem. Your coach is the one making the mistake of being irrational and unreasonable. If you've intelligently come to that conclusion, now we need to deal with why your coach is doing this. So there could be a myriad of reasons why your coach is behaving this way, and you may never really understand particularly why or his specific reasoning. So maybe there are a lot of expectations on him or her. Maybe there is a lot of pressure on them to have a lot of wins and be a successful coach. Maybe they're a new coach and they're not used to having that pressure and expectations on them. And because of that pressure, because of those expectations, yes, your coach is only human, and maybe they irrationally lash out at you and your team when he or she shouldn't behave that way. And yes, it's perfectly true that your coach is only human and your coach is going to make mistakes. That's perfectly true. But also let's keep in mind, regardless of how old you are or young you are, whether you're 8 or 18 or 22, your coach is a grown adult authority figure who chose to have that role. That person chose to become a coach. That person chose to have you on their team as their player. It was a choice and a decision that they made as a grown adult authority figure. And as your coach, they are supposed to be your leader. And regardless of what their reasoning is for being irrationally and unreasonably hard on you, the fact of the matter is they are a grown adult authority figure who should not be behaving like that. And in every and all situations, regardless of what your coach's reasoning is for being so hard on you, the one reason why they're behaving like that is because even though they are a grown adult who is in a position of authority, they do not understand how to manage their emotions properly, and they should. When they chose to put themselves into that position of authority to be a leader of young players, they should enter that role already knowing and understanding how to manage their emotions properly. But they don't. And because of that, you as their player and your teammates suffer their irrationality and unreasonable behavior. Now that we've defined why your coach behaves like this, let's define how you should deal with it. What should you do about it? And honestly, there's not a really good answer here. It's not going to be a satisfactory answer, especially the younger player you are, because the younger you are, the less power you have on your team. Your coach is essentially your boss, and he controls everything. He controls what position you play. He controls your playing time. He controls whether or not you're even on the team. And so the younger you are, the less influence and power you have over what your role on the team is. Essentially, there's nothing you can do. You essentially just have to do what they tell you to do to the best of your ability. Now, I know that's not much of an answer, but there is more to it than just that. But it's important that I state that because it's also true that even though your coach is being unreasonable and irrational, you cannot impose your will upon him or her. They're a grown adult. They make their own decisions, even if they are unreasonable. You can't impose your rational will upon them. And just as you wouldn't want someone else imposing their will upon you, you can't impose your will upon them. And even if your coach is unreasonable and riding you too hard. It's not them really imposing their will upon you. It's really just them being harder on you than they should because they don't know any better. But you don't have to play for them. You can leave the team. They're not imposing their will on you. If you feel like they are, then you can immediately stop that and control that by just walking away. But given the fact that you want to play and that coach is your gateway in order to be able to play, because of that, you essentially have to do what they say to do. You just have to do it to the best of your ability. Now, when I said there's more to it than just that, the very important part about doing what they say to do is that you have to learn how to emotionally detach yourself from the impact of them being irrational and unreasonable when it comes to them telling you what to do and then you doing it. And you already know that regardless of what you do, he's going to yell and scream and be irrational with you anyway. So just do what he says to the best of your ability. And then his irrationality is not your fault. It's not your problem, especially when you're performing to the best of your ability. You can only do as much as you can do. The part that you can control is whether or not you feel bad about him being irrational and being unreasonable. It shouldn't make you angry. It shouldn't make you sad. It shouldn't throw you off of your game emotionally, because you just detach emotionally from letting his irrationality affect you. I know that's easier said than done, and it's going to take practice and experience and time, but you can do it, and it is definitely worth the effort to be able to detach yourself and to be able to play your game doing what your coach says to the best of your ability, because it's not about what's happening right then in that moment when you're doing what he says and he's still being irrational. It's about working hard to get to a better situation in the future, where hopefully you have a coach who is one of the minority, who's one of the good people, who's one of the smart, rational people. You work hard now, you emotionally detach yourself now, so that in the future, hopefully you will find yourself earning a better situation. Like I said, I understand that that's not a super satisfying answer. It's not me saying, hey, you know what, you get in the coach's face and you tell him what for. But the reality is that he has the power, he's the authority figure, and you're a player. You're supposed to do what he says, regardless of how irrational or unreasonable it is. And the sooner you can learn that, and the sooner you can learn how to emotionally detach yourself while doing what is expected of you, the better you are going to be and perform as a player and just an overall person. Because in life, you're going to encounter these kinds of people who are going to have authority over you over and over again in your life. You know, it's going to be your coach, or it's going to be your teacher. Eventually, it's going to be your boss. It's going to be people who have authority over you, who are unreasonable and irrational, and you're going to have to appease them as much as they don't deserve it. And in those situations, you're not working for success only in that moment to appease someone who really doesn't deserve it. In those moments, you're working for the future possibilities. You are working hard, you're doing what's asked of you, you're doing what's expected of you to the best of your ability to earn better possibilities and opportunities in the future, so that you can work for and with people who are actually smart, who are actually decent, who actually are reasonable and care about working together to make a better environment, regardless of whether it's basketball or your working environment or your home environment. Maybe you have a authority figure at home who is irrational and unreasonable. The same principles apply whether it's family members or teachers or coaches or bosses or whoever has authority over you. You still have to do what they say to the best of your ability. You just, in that moment while you're doing those things, emotionally detach so that you don't become sad, you don't become angry, you don't become depressed and frustrated. You just do what's asked of you the best you can to get through those moments that you need to get through so that hopefully in the future you will earn a better opportunity and a better situation. And like Deep Game says, yes, you should try to sympathize and have empathy for these people, for these coaches. And the first thing you should always do is just communicate with them. Tell them how what they're doing is affecting you, how it's making you feel, how it's throwing you off your game. Communicate with them first, but know that if they are actual unreasonable and irrational majority type people, it's probably not going to get you very far. Hopefully it does, and you should always, regardless of who it is, you should always try to do that first, always communicate first, but understand that it may not have the kind of results that you're looking for. And my feeling is, like, if you're 14 and you have an unreasonable coach, why should 14-year-old you have to psychoanalyze the 46-year-old coach who doesn't know how to properly control their emotions, even though they're a grown adult who chose to be a coach and chose to be your leader? Why should it be on you to psychoanalyze them and then conform to their irrationality? Just do what they say to the best of your ability, learn how to detach emotionally, and earn yourself better situations and opportunities in the future. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful, if it made sense, if you think that you'll be able to use this information to help you in the future or your current situation, that's great. Please hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button because it really does help me out. It helps this channel out and I really do appreciate it. Also hit that notification bell so you're notified of all the future videos coming up on this channel. Again, this channel is all about the psychology and mentality of basketball and how using that to form strategies to help you perform better out here on the court. So if those kind of thoughts and ideas appeal to you, then make sure you hit that bell so you're notified of all the future videos, and I will see you guys next week.
Hey, you trying to shut me out, it's getting blatant. Hey, I come and see you now, no hesitation. Yeah, I'm really tired of being patient. Hey, if you won't give it to me, I'ma take it.